In other news, a former Alabama politician is making international headlines in a sperm donor scandal.
Yeah, apparently Bill Johnson, former head of the Alabama Department of Economy and Community Affairs, has been using an online alias to meet women in New Zealand who need help getting pregnant. In fact, 3 of them are now pregnant. It all comes as a shock to his wife, who's been in the United States, while Johnson helps with the earthquake relief in New Zealand.
Now, Johnson and his wife cannot have any children of their own, and he says he has a biological need to be a father. Michelle Rappaport is a sex therapist. And Michelle, glad to have you back here on News Channel 3 Live at 9.
Good morning.
How common is something like this? I mean, you occasionally hear about this story or that story, but is this really happening even behind the scenes even more than we might think?
Well, I think that whole idea of people having a secret life that is not really connected to their public life is not uncommon. We're seeing it in the news quite often these days, as a matter of fact. So I think it's something in our world that we're watching happen, particularly as there's more media coverage and more social networking and people are so publicly exposed, is those secrets have a tendency to go further underground. And how to bring those two worlds together, I think, is a challenge for a lot of people.
And what type of challenge does his wife have to kind of go through? I mean, can you recover from something like this?
Absolutely, you can recover, but I do think that it is a challenge, and this story really gives light to that. It's a challenge to many couples these days, really kind of finding what are the boundaries of betrayal and infidelity. You know, is this really cheating? Is this a betrayal? Is it infidelity? You know, we're watching that go on with people, like if I'm in the next room and my husband's in the living room and I'm chatting with someone in, you know, New Zealand. Am I cheating? You know, I haven't had an affair with them, I haven't talked with them, but what are the parameters really of that? I think couples have to sit down and talk about that in more than one conversation, ongoingly, and then when you kind of reach these edges of the parameter, it does become a question of how do we recover from it, and it's a process.
Or if you want to recover from that.
Absolutely.
Is this also about ego? Is this about power? Is this just about excitement, possibly? What do you think kind of goes on in one's mind for that individual who does something like this?
Oh, there's a vast neurochemistry behind it, absolutely. And just the idea of keeping a secret is exciting and intriguing. So, you know, you have all of that secret energy neurochemically that creates an excitement and an intrigue in the brain. And when you start, you know, matching up that kind of danger with other really pleasurable experiences, you're looking for a great big can of worms to come out of that.
The percentage, you see more men leading secret lives or women leading secret lives?
It's a great question, and there is a slight difference in more men than women, but women are catching up quickly.
Why do we think that is?
I think the accessibility, again, we're looking at, you know, more digital age, more media age, more social networking, that kind of stuff. I think it's becoming so easy for people to lead secret lives. I mean, you could lead a secret life on Facebook and, you know, Twitter, and nobody has to know who you are, kind of stuff. The accessibility is so easy, and, you know, women love the, you know, anonymous factor of some of that. So I think those numbers will be catching up rather rapidly.
Let's talk about efforts to actually bring those couples back together, though.
Yes.
Is it possible, especially if 2 individuals are committed to the relationship, to say, all right, I want to change my ways?
Yes.
Can it be done?
Absolutely. And, you know, what I tell couples is repair and recovery in, you know, particularly if there's been a betrayal in the relationship, is a process. It's not an event. And really the only thing that is required around that is willingness on both sides. You can't have one who's willing to do it for both. Both partners have to be willing to engage in a process of, you know, how you rebuild trust is with consistent, trustworthy behavior over a period of time.
So it's not an event, it is a process.
It is,
and
over a period of time.
Any type of relationship, if you're dating, if you've been married for a while, it takes work. And I think people who think that it's a fairy tale, it's not that. Really, for a lifelong relationship, it takes a lot to get through everything.
The fairy tale ends quite quickly, and relationships are the hardest work you'll ever do.
There you go.
All right, Michelle Rappaport, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, happy holidays to you. All right, so